Hey Battle Buddies and Healthy Heroes, my name is Susie, an enthusiastic nerd bringing you LARP and fitness content. I am so excited to feature my good friend Jeremy Davis in a very special tactics video to analyze combat inside the mind of an NPC. He and I had a little conversation where he told me all the stuff that he was thinking while he was NPCing this battle. An NPC, or a non-player character, is someone who shows up to LARP at your game but is not playing a character that they've invented themselves. They go backstage, they get instructions, they get their own stat cards. Plot team tells them what type of monster they are, and then out they go to battle against the heroes. So Jeremy was NPCing this event wearing a body cam. So please enjoy this point of view footage inside the mind of the NPC featuring Jeremy Davis. Inside the mind of the monster. This is Jeremy's point of view, and I will tell you what he told me. NPCing is often about throttling, which means varying the intensity with which you're fighting to make it an appropriate challenge. Swinging 10 silence immediately flags himself as a high-risk threat. 10's a big number, and silence is a rough carrier effect, but he decides to throttle with the way he is incanting his throws there. Slow, measured, enunciated. His goal was to needle these PCs to come after him, away from the main part of the encounter to help spread the attention. Let the smaller PCs deal with the smaller NPCs. He's blocking packets with a left blade swinging outward. Jeremy tells me he's often filling two different roles as a big NPC, either a town scare, where he engages smaller PCs because they bit off more than they can chew, or it's already a full town encounter where he's trying to level the playing field by drawing the aggro against those who can take these hard hits. And this path fight is definitely the latter. He could have been swinging and throwing twice as fast, but that isn't the story that needed to be told in the moment. When Jeremy heals himself as an NPC, he always announces it, even though the rules say you don't really have to do that, and he'll coach other NPCs to do the same, because he thinks that healing would be a visual effect, and it's helpful for the PCs to sort of know to look for that. Ryan finally cuts the big monster down. Jeremy uses his two evade skills to protect that last little bit of health, and then he's dropped. He also gives the verbal down when he pops, so PCs know that he's dropped, mostly because he's slow to take a knee these days, but it also helps not accidentally get hit in the face or something. It's like the opposite of the young players who exuberantly throw themselves to the wind when they die. Now, this throw is exactly what he was talking about before, an aggressive warning shot, very deliberate, targeted, heavily thrown from a distance. The PC gets it and clarifies the damage. You can tell there's a note of significance. He doesn't use it to light them up and create utter chaos. And then Paolo comes in with Weapon Strike, Paralysis, which he's resisting, and he's batting packets away. It's really more of a game of draw off the PCs. He's not trying to kill him outright, but be a prominent threat that demands attention.
Killing blow 2, killing blow 3, normal. Sit down.
Yeah, Paolo does sound pretty annoyed by how big a dude he was. That was a big threat. So right here, attacking Riddick, Jeremy says he's basically doing safety disruption. Like, no, you don't get to refit right now, you don't get to sit down. But as soon as that disruption is accomplished, he backs off. He escalates the impression of danger, but it's also very throttled, not to be overwhelming. So just a little surprise, a little disruption, and then keep the pace with that same philosophy of, needling the PCs to pull off those higher level players, to spread out the action of the battlefield and allow other lower level players to deal with other smaller monsters. Here's a quick third-person view for you, just so you can see what a great job Paolo did sneaking up on him, getting some rogue attacks in. Jeremy keeps his distance. He's using the trees very effectively to discourage me from getting in behind him.
Elemental 20 flame. Got it.
Now here we're going to switch things up a little bit. We're going to switch to my point of view, fighting as Uksue Nikujo, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when I am battling Jeremy as the monster. So I run in and get a hit in, which may or may not be a surprise, and he whips his arm around to rear guard with the short claw. It's a reflexive motion for him at this point. It's the same move he does with his rogue shield when he has rear guarding. He only turns towards me partially to confront me so he doesn't expose his back, and he blocks a couple packets while defending against Azarus in the front. He's sidestepping towards me with a long claw raised, ready to look for an attacking moment, but I keep backing up. He tries to reposition but is surrounded anyway, so he tries to back up and start throwing fire, but I get behind him and land a couple hits in before he can bring his long claw out again. He created some breathing room for himself, so of course I hiss at him. And this jump strike is one that he remembers. He tried to lunge at Azareth, but messed up his footing, which is too bad because he had such a nice reach. At least he rolled into it. It actually left a gouge in his knee. He has a little triangle scar there now. He must have hit a root or something. So, lesson 1, he says, don't forget your age and lack of agility or you will end up with wounds. The rest of the fight after that seems more of the same. He's definitely tired though. You can totally see how his stance and approach is impacted by that little tumble. Upon reflection, he realized he probably did that jump because he was starting to get tired and he wanted to land a big hit. Alas, definitely a victim of his own impatience, he says. Don't worry, Jeremy, I totally get that. I've been there. You've heard my stories. He notices a few more mistakes in his play after that. He can't believe he lets Riddick get behind him in that circle there. He can't remember, maybe he was playing a low intelligence monster, or maybe he genuinely didn't see him. Peripheral vision is difficult in those NPC masks sometimes. We had a little pause there just to move a prop out of the way, reset ourselves, and then we're back in action. At this point, he notices an enemy behind the tree there, and he strikes at me to make an opening to let himself go left to get after an enemy behind the tree. Striking at me to give himself some more space, but I get after his back, force him to come back in. Now, we're towards the end of a long battle here, so we're all getting a little tired, and that's when casters start to pull out their fun tricks. Joshua throws a charm here. It doesn't immediately take hold, but that resist is good information. Resist is different than no effect. Throws a charm again, and this time Jeremy takes it. He role-plays the effect of taking it by giving a little Mortal Kombat sway, he calls it. And that's what stopped the big monster, Joshua, charming him, so they became friends. Thanks for watching. Join the battle at larpnh.com.